What's up, guys? My name's KhaoticK, back at you guys with a little one today. We're coming at you with a new review. And in this one, we are going to be reviewing Fluclotizolam. Now, that's sort of a mouthful there. Sort of hard to say. And the reason why this one, this one is like right up there with Fluclotizolam as being one of the more potent benzodiazepines, but more so being the more euphoric of the benzodiazepines. So we're gonna get right into this video. I hope you guys are staying high, stay lifted. Let's get right into it now. And yeah, leave it down in the comments if you guys have tried this. But this one felt very, very similar to etizolam because it does have a chlorine group attached, like etizolam, and it's supposed to be the fluorinated analog of clotizolam, which I've never done. But I was very surprised in this being very, very, very similar to etizolam. Like, I'm serious. Like, if someone gave me this, I would have thought it was etizolam. They could have told me it was etizolam, and I would have had no idea. So we're gonna get right into the main effects here. And the dose I took, at first I took 0.25 milligrams, which is 250 micrograms. So this is another very potent benzo. However, the short half-life on this is even shorter than fucking etizolam. So yeah, the delusion of sobriety will be a lot higher. And I noticed with euphoric benzos, the delusion of sobriety is just more increased. It's not going to sedate you as much, which can be very, very dangerous depending on your tolerance level and other factors going into the benzo trip. But this one, bro, I have a lot to say because yeah, it just felt like something new and something old, at the same time. What I mean by something old, it felt like something that I've done before, like etizolam, right? But the main difference being that, yeah, it was a lot shorter acting, which is a downside in my opinion, because then that leads to more compulsive redosing. So be very, very careful with this one. But yeah, it took me a while to find a source for this. I wasn't even seeking it out, but then I found a place to find it. So I was like, okay. And yeah, the addiction factor is definitely a lot higher with this one. So I'm staying away from it. But yeah, watch out because yeah, this one begs to be redosed. It begs for more. But yeah, it's an addiction waiting to happen. Okay. There's some people that have had benzo addiction. You would know exactly what I'm talking about and the risk factors going into that. But if you're wondering about using this, don't use this kind of a benzo for your first time, bro. It's just too addicting, bro. Just stay away from it, all right? But, I would say the half-life, it kicks in. Well, actually, I would say the main effects kick in within 30 minutes. The come-up takes about 30 minutes and maybe up to a whole hour for you to actually fully feel the drug, right? But this one, yeah, the fluoridated action makes it a lot more receptive on the receptor, and the potency is increased a fuck ton. It's like 3 to 4 times as potent as etizolam, in my opinion. But yeah, I guess it's a etizolam derivative too. So I don't know if they synthesized etizolam first or this one. I don't know which one, but I do know it is an etizolam derivative. So it most definitely feels like etizolam, and yeah, it almost feels like fluclotizolam, like what I would imagine fluclotizolam to feel like, because I've never even done that. But I would assume it probably feels very similar to that as well. And yeah, it's just too recreational. I'm gonna be honest, this is like a party benzo, bro. Anywhere else, it's just really not that functional, in my opinion. There's better benzos that have better anxiety reduction. This one, it has some anxiety reduction, but man, you really have to push the dose for that, to stay in your system. And you're gonna have to redose. So is it really effective for anxiety? You don't want a short-acting benzo for anxiety, bro. The main reason being is that these ones have delusion of sobriety, and the other main reason being is that it will be a short-acting benzo. So why would you want a short-acting anxiety relief when there's longer-acting anxiety reliefs? In benzos, in terms of effects, there's longer-acting benzos, which is what you would prefer. If you've been experienced with benzos, you would know that the longer acting ones tend to be the more anxiety reducing, keeping that shit away kind of effect. It's a very good muscle relaxant as well. And yeah, it could be paired in conjunction with some of their pharmaceuticals, but don't fucking ever combine it with downers, bro. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. And stick to only doing this by itself, because honestly, mixed with anything else, it's sort of a waste, bro. And yeah, this one was very interesting in that, yeah, it's just not too sedating, and it's been a while since I've done a benzo like that. It was a lot more like Fluclotizolam. And yeah, with that being said, it was more like, shit, I don't know. Yeah, more like, actually, yeah, closest to Fluclotizolam, bro. Other than that, I really don't know what else it was closest to in effects. Like fluoprazolam, that one lasts too long. Flubromazolam, that lasts fucking 18 hours. It's just, it didn't really feel that strong. You got Fluclotizolam. I've done that as well, which I will have a substance review on. But that was not euphoric in my opinion. Fluclotizolam, though, that one was euphoric. Just as euphoric as Fluclotizolam. So that's really the only comparison I compare it to. Maybe alprazolam by itself, not flualprazolam, but alprazolam by itself, it was probably just as euphoric as the Xanax. Oh, and Atizolam, forgot. Yeah, Atizolam definitely is euphoric as Atizolam, bro. Definitely pretty much almost exactly like Atizolam, like short acting. It's almost like it's the fluorinated analog of it, which is Fluclotizolam, but it wasn't Fluclotizolam. But who knows? Only a GCMS testing would decipher that. But, this one, hey, I'm a lot more excited, if you could tell, talking about it, because, yeah, euphoric benzos, I already went through all the euphoric benzos, but there's still a lot, bro. There's still a lot on the table. But the dangerous thing about that is it's just an addiction waiting to happen, bro. And, thank God I've discovered more euphoric GABA substances than, these. However, that would only be GBL. That's the only thing I could beat a benzo, in my opinion. All the other fucking downers fucking suck, okay? In terms of, like, recreational use, in my opinion, once you find a good supply of GBL, bro, man, all bets are off. And that one would be top of the tier addiction, because it's just the most addicting, most euphoric, feel good, you get good sleep drug that I've ever done. I'm gonna be honest. The fact that it gets out of your system within, like, a few hours is crazy. There's no half-life the next day other than maybe like grogginess because you overslept normally. But yeah, they just have no comparison to benzo. But I think you would know that was more addicting. GHB, GBL, bro, they are not for the faint of heart. But what I'm trying to say is that, for it to touch my addiction receptors, I guess you could say, it's not going to be a benzo anymore. It's not going to be a benzo anymore. And yeah, I actually stopped doing GBL as well, but definitely not going to go back into doing benzos, that's for sure. Because with Fluclotizolam, there is a negative side. It does have a massive GABA rebound. It will make you a little pissy, in my opinion, when it's wearing off the next day. So I do not like that about short-acting benzos. It's just not fun, bro. Why am I going to take something that's going to make me feel like a fucking asshole the next day? That's not cool, bro. That's not where I'm trying to be right now in my life. So, yeah. Keep in mind, it most definitely has a rebound. A lot more likely than Atizolam. And Atizolam already had a fucking rebound, bro. So, and a Xanax would have a rebound. Any short-acting benzo, bro, you really, really gotta watch that shit. Please. To a T, bro. You really, really gotta watch that shit. I'm not fucking playing. But, hey, go ahead, and you're more than likely gonna have to find out the hard way, because I've had to find out the hard way. No one's fucking teaching me this shit, I have no teacher teaching me this shit. I'm fucking up. And I want you guys to learn from my mistakes. But in my opinion, yeah, short-acting benzos are just not worth it, bro. You're going to be redosing a lot more compulsively. The addiction factor is a lot more there. And short-acting benzos tend to be the more euphoric ones. So, there you go. So, but Fluclotizolam, it's no different. It could be dangerous because it's a lot more potent, of course. 0.5 milligrams could be a lot to somebody. It could knock them out if they have no tolerance. I might have a permanent tolerance to this kind of shit. I can handle up to like a milligram of this shit, and not black out or anything. Probably up to 2 milligrams. And that's stretching it, bro. That's like the equivalent of like 4 milligrams or more of Atizolam. So yeah, it really is 3 to 4 times as potent as Atizolam. And yeah, it was really interesting, because I really miss Atizolam. But I did find a source for Atizolam. But I'm kind of hesitant because I did fucking compulsively take that shit and was pretty near addicted to that shit and kind of glad to see it, come back. But that's very dangerous, bro. Very, 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 very thin line to tread because you can go into an addiction again. So, honestly, since I've took so much time off of benzos, I actually can use them sparingly now, like wholeheartedly. I can use them sparingly now. That's a very rare trait to have after an addiction, because if not, man, you'd be able to tell I'm on benzos all the fucking time, bro. My voice would be sloppy. Like, I am absolutely not on that kind of shit. But yeah, and I wouldn't want to be, bro, because again, you can play it off and you can play it off, but people are gonna know you're high on something, bro. And you smoke weed on that shit, you're gonna look like you're on something, bro. So I don't want something to affect me more than weed already affects me, because weed affects me pretty fucking strongly, bro. I've always been sort of sensitive to drugs. I'm gonna be honest, and it might be surprising to hear that shit, because I've tried over 170 drugs. 170 drugs. All right. And I've always been fucking sensitive to these things. So I just require less doses of everything. It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. Because then maybe, because you require lower doses, then you want to take more. Then you're kind of like, oh, I could take more and handle more. So it could be a dangerous thing. But yeah, if you're someone that's more sensitive to drugs than other people, watch out. Watch out. Because you're going to get a lot more potent effects, obviously, in lower doses. And you're going to be more susceptible to the side effects of drugs. I've noticed. So keep that in mind. But yeah, my receptors have actually stayed intact. Honestly, every single last one of my receptors have stayed intact over all this use. I'm serious. Like, because I've taken enough steps to, get off of the drugs and also work out enough and, stimulate the BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic growth factor. I have stimulated that enough and repaired neurons after abuse, and it happens. And you have to learn to have a game plan. You have to have a exit plan as well. You do not want to stay on a substance. Any particular substance, doesn't matter what category, bro. Eventually, it's just gonna you're gonna wring that towel dry, bro. You're gonna fucking dry that well out. You're gonna fucking suffer massive withdrawal come down, and you're gonna have to watch out. But other than that, Fluclotizolam, this stuff was very euphoric. I liked it a lot. And it's dosed, the dosage is around 0.5 to 1 milligram. Do not ever take 1 milligram. Start out with 0.25 milligram, 250 micrograms, and only go up to 0.5 milligrams if you have no tolerance. Any more than that, bro, yeah, you either have a tolerance or you're fucking up, all right? But please, take what I say into consideration. But Fluclotizolam, right up there with Fluclotizolam and Atizolam with euphoria. And yeah. Oh, and clonazepam. Can't forget about that. So all of those are very euphoric benzos. And that being said, those are very dangerous benzos because the euphoria is going to make you want to, redose. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys stay high, stay lifted. Fluclotizolam does get a 9 out of 10 from me. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.